Defend yourself against government surveillance and data harvesting. In today's modern digital society that largely relies on the internet for even the most basic of activities, it's no real surprise that big corporations such as Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and so on and so forth, like to collect vast amounts of data from their users, and in exchange for making a profit off of user data, we are the end product as a result. But services such as Facebook, Google Search, Twitter, etc., are all free for us to use. This is because the billionaires behind the companies can make huge profits from selling our data to data brokers. Data brokers are companies that sell your data to advertisers and third parties for a living. You often hear about Google engaging in this sort of data harvesting. And even if it's not the big GRM that you are worried about, you might be paranoid that your government is watching you closely and that it's essential to use privacy tools such as the Tor browser, I2P, VPNs and proxies, as well as other well-known tools that are often used to defend against surveillance states, especially in countries like China and Iran, where the population is heavily oppressed. They often have no access to the outside world, and thus, tools like Tor are popular because they defend against surveillance and censorship. So, here are 5 simple steps you can take to become more private online, and reduce your digital footprint. Number 1. Use private browsers and search engines. If you're concerned about tracking and data harvesting, then you need to stop using Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or Microsoft Edge, because all of these browsers are known for their data collection, especially Google Chrome, but Mozilla has been caught out selling its users' data to advertisers as recently as July 2024, so that's not a good look for Firefox, and Edge. Well, there's no explanation needed here. We all know what Microsoft is like when it comes to harvesting our data on Windows. It's very invasive, and so, if you're a Windows user who is concerned with Microsoft's data practices and data collection retention policies, I would highly recommend checking out privacy-focused operating systems. We will talk about those a bit later on in the video. Number 2, utilize things like Tor. Tor, the Onion router, is an anonymous peer-to-peer network ran by thousands of volunteers all over the world. It is open source and free to use, and it allows you to access websites which normally cannot be indexed on the ClearNet or Clean Web. You may have heard of the terms deep web and dark web before. Well, this is to do with the fact that Tor can be used to access illegal sites, including those that sell drugs, weapons, counterfeit money, etc. But Tor can also be used to bypass geo-restricted content, especially where oppression of such tools is high. In Iran, for example, Tor can land you with a death penalty sentence, but it is the only way that some of those Iranians have access to the information in the outside world. The same thing applies to just about any other country which engages in heavy censorship. Even America and Australia are becoming more and more censored when it comes to certain content, and data retention seems to be getting worse here too. So it's not a bad idea for you Aussies and Americans to consider the Tor browser as a secondary, fully private alternative to your main web browser. But obviously, if you have no need for that level of security and anonymity, it will not be necessary. Number 3, install an ad blocker, HTTPS everywhere, and no script in your browser, or on your mobile device. These handy extensions will help prevent unwanted trackers and ads from getting onto your device. No script prevents commonly exploited vulnerabilities from being exploited on your device. This usually comes with the Tor browser by default, and you should also check HTTPS everywhere. It makes sure all connections only go via HTTPS. Without the S, you are using an insecure protocol, which means data can be exposed and stolen by hackers and third parties. Even your government might be a sticky beak at times. So always ensure all connections are only running via HTTPS. Number 4. Use a private operating system such as Tails OS, Whonix, or Whonix Linux. These privacy-orientated distributions are designed to protect you from surveillance and censorship. They come with the Tor browser by default, and all of the private OSs are usually designed to run over the Tor network themselves. So not only is your browser traffic anonymized by Tor, anything done in the operating system also becomes anonymous, and Orbot does something similar to Android phones. It allows your phone to run over the Tor network. However, due to the security flaws with Android phones in general, I would not recommend using them for browsing the deep or dark web, as a private OS specifically built for this sort of stuff is way more suitable for the job. Plus, it is designed for privacy nutheads, activists, and whistleblowers, so if you really need privacy and top-notch security, go for one of the above-mentioned Linux distros which protect user privacy and defend against surveillance and censorship. Lastly, for number 5, regularly clear your browser's cookies, cache, and browsing history, as well as any other junk you may find in your browser. Not only does this help speed up your device, but it helps prevent them collecting up and piling into a huge picture that gives away lots of details about you. Even though clearing your browsing history is truly never clearing it, police can still obtain in criminal investigations when there is reasonable suspicion that the individual being investigated is trying to hide something, but that only applies when you are under federal investigation by law enforcement or a government agency. But even though that's the case, you can generally still wipe anything else, including cookies, which are used to keep your preferences for sites, and keep you signed in, giving away personally identifiable cues that makes it obvious it's you using the browser, so do not keep those. Also clear image thumbnails and any other information which you think could be used against you in a court of law. I am not a lawyer, and I am not encouraging any illegal activities here. I am simply educating those who are concerned about privacy about taking the essential steps to become more private in one way or another, and although true privacy is simply impossible, that does not mean we have to be complicit with the data harvesters and simply ignore the conditions to which we are exposed to. Data brokers making a huge living off of user data. This is not normal, nowhere near normal. It is only normal because Google and Microsoft make it so, but too many people think that, if you have nothing to hide, that you should not be worried or have anything to fear, and that, oh well, Google or Apple only has all my data anyway, why should I stop using their products and services? And most people believe the cops are the good guys and that they always catch the right people for the right crime. Well, I hate to say this, but that is sadly not the case. We see lots of people going to jail for crimes that either were not committed by that individual, or the individual did do a crime but it was so minor it was not worth jailing or even charging over, and especially in computer crimes, we are seeing more and more people being fitted up for crimes they did not do. So do not be surprised if using Linux becomes a crime in the future. The police can and do already watch those Linux users closely. Probably because they think that they are some sort of hacker or somebody who uses the dark web or deep web, but that's no reason to start watching me closely, because I do not do anything that gives the police any good reason to be like Big Brother from 1984, even though I use Linux. You think someone who uses a consumer-orientated distro such as Linux Mint really does nefarious stuff with their computer? Really? You have to be pretty thick to think that, officer. I mean, it's obvious if someone is going for Tails OS, because they know that you're trying to hide something, or that you want to engage in illegal activities. Even searching for and downloading such tools can land you on a government watch list. Have no idea what a watch list even is? Go check out my video on what a government watch list is, and you will know all about it in less than 20 minutes. I really hope you have learned something useful from this video. If you did, please give it a like, and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and stay private. See you next video. Bye for now.